as I recall, it was too easy to break the game because you could just draw Pac-Man the size of the entire screen and he would just devour everything because you chose how big you wanted him to be. And I'm like, well, why wouldn't I just draw him the whole screen?
That sounds amazing.
Hello, and welcome to episode 138 of Rhythm Encounter, the RPG fan music podcast. I'm your host, Mike Salbato, and I don't have an intro. I could say I'm here to get funky. No?
You could.
I could.
You're deciding to join us after the last time.
That's true. I was not here because someone took over the captain position of my ship and made me walk the plank. Although she did a good job captaining that pirate episode.
Oh,
so
thank you.
Yes. Anyway, before we get into today's topic, as I stumble over what I'm saying in this intro, I'm going to introduce the rest of our panel here today. So Hillary is here with us.
Yep, former captain. Hi.
Hello. Gio is with us as well.
Hello, news captain here.
And finally, we have Tin.
Hi.
Hello.
Just a regular pirate.
Squad.
Yay, more pirates.
Oh no, are we still doing pirates?
No, I think we're just continuing to express appreciation.
Okay.
That's fine.
Pirates playing jazz music?
Yeah, we're about to land.
Yeah.
There we go.
All right. Well, hi everyone. Welcome here. I'm glad that you are all here. You know what's funny? I don't know if any of you noticed this. Gio, you suggested this one a while ago as like a follow-up to last year's jazz and funk episode.
Mm-hmm.
Did you notice that the jazz and funk episode last year posted the first week of July, and this one is also posting the first week of July?
What?
Happy anniversary, Jazz and Funk episode.
Wow.
Yeah.
Were you
Yep.
there too?
Yeah, I was with Hillary.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
That
Oh,
was
that's
episode 112, and it turns out there
Aw.
were, I mean, outside of days shifting, but we always post on a Monday. So I'm going to say, even though one's July 3rd and one's July 1st,
It's a
it's
year
exactly
later.
a year apart.
Yay.
This is coincidence.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't plan it. Like, we did our poll, and this was just the one that was going to come up next. I had no idea that it was going to be such good timing.
It's meant to be.
Yeah,
It
I really
was.
enjoyed that episode too.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think we're going to be saying that after this one, too. I'm excited.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So a year ago, we did a jazz and funk episode. I shouldn't say we. I wasn't on that one, but I'm happy to be on this one. And
Me
so
too.
today we're doing a follow-up. Jazz, funk, jazz fusion, city pop. A little blending of genres, but it's going to be a good time.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll say we're like moving the timeline forward a little bit and focusing mostly on city pop kind of stuff, but there are definitely funky beats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, anyone who listens...
City pop's like descended from jazz anyway. Like it's like an
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
offshoot.
Well, I don't want to be redundant if anyone happens to remember the exact introduction of episode 112, but I'm guessing they don't. So I'm going to ask my usual question anyway about what drew you all to this episode. Let's start with Gio, since you were the one who
Yeah.
suggested we do a sequel.
Oh well, jazz and funk are like two of my favorite genres, and in video games especially. And I listen to those genres a lot. And actually, the first songs that we're going to cover kind of spurred this episode because like I was obsessed with this one particular song. Tin and I were obsessed with this song that came out this year, and we were like, oh, there needs to be a whole episode about this.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it would be nice to like, connect it to last year's episode too, because it's kind of in that same vein. So yeah, that's where it came from for me.
Okay, well, I know which song that came out this year then. How about you, Tin?
Well, Gio dragged me in. Joke. I wanted to bring more songs that we've been listening to lately, and actually the songs that Gio wrote, I always hear them every freaking day. So I want y'all to hear it too.
Sharing is a good motivation.
Yes. As long as it's something you enjoy.
Yeah, we do.
I have to hear it every day and I'm sick of it. So I know you're going to be sick of it too.
Yeah. Or maybe this will end. But,
Now there's an episode about it. And City Pop is over.
Oh no. What are we going to do next July? We can't do a third one?
We'll have to go back to like more standard jazz and funk, I guess.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
and then we're back again.
Yeah. Well, I think I might know the answer here, but how about you, Hillary?
I'm always interested in how music kind of develops and changes over time. And I am also a fan of jazz and funk, hence hosting that episode. So getting a chance to delve into kind of some of its more modern iterations and inspirations is a good time.
Yeah. I still think one of these days we got to do an episode with just you, me, and your dad talking about jazz. And be like, and he'll be like, "This is from a video game." I'm like, "Yes."
And he'll be like, "This reminds me of Miles Davis.
Yep.
This particular
man.
album, this particular year."
I mean,
the perfect episode.
Yeah.
Part 3.
That's Gio's dream episode.
Gio's been dreaming of talking to Hillary's dad specifically.
I mean,
Jazz fan reacts to jazz video.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I really think that could be fun if we could figure out a way to make that work.
I mean, he definitely qualifies as like a jazz fan dad.
I mean, not just with him, but like anyone. Like, I don't know. I've never specifically polled the team at RPG Fan to be like, do any of your parents or siblings or whatever like want to just come on and talk about a game sometime? I don't know. It could be interesting. We watch Marco Meatball on YouTube all the time, and he's fantastic.
The opera singer.
The opera singer.
Mm-hmm.
He's been doing a lot of these videos lately where he gets people that he knows, like other composers or his music teachers, other people in the opera industry who mostly don't know video game music, and just gets their live reaction. Like, here it is. Did you know this is from a game?
That's an episode I've been proposing for a while. It's musicians react.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
It's really fun. I guess we'll put a link in the notes for that. Anyone who doesn't know his channel, although he has a lot more listeners and viewers than we do, so you probably do. But either way, he's fantastic, and those episodes are a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So actually, one of the last ones we watched a few weeks ago was I can't remember if he was a music teacher. The Dark Souls one. It was one of the first ones that came on, and he's like, he knows Dark Souls already. And
he was one of the few, like, usually it's conductor, producer, singer, someone in the opera scene who doesn't know a lot about game music, but this guy happened to be a Souls fan.
Yeah. Well, he came on wearing a Dark Souls
they had matching.
t-shirt.
Well, they both had Dark Souls t-shirts.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay, this is a new take.
Anyway, it would be a fun idea.
Yeah.
And I can actually bring that idea back again for one of my picks.
Oh, okay. Yeah, actually, I was going to ask about that, but I'm getting ahead of myself. So, yeah, maybe we should talk about some music then, huh?
Mm-hmm.
So, we're going to start off with the Wind in My Hair block here. Yes, I gave them names.
That's perfect.
I mean, it was what I thought of with this first song. So our first block is Gio and Tin. So what are we starting with, Gio?
Yeah, okay. So I'm bringing a city pop jam here. It's called Prince of the Wind. It's like based on the town theme from Dragon Slayer: The Legend of Heroes, the first Legend of Heroes game. It's by Falcom sound team J.D.K, arranged by Etsuko Yamakawa, based on the YouTube video description. I think it's accurate. And then it's from the compilation album Falcom Special Box 91. So I hope you guys enjoy.
All right. And then Tin?
Oh, I'm bringing A recent one from a recent game that released just for like it was one of the first few games that released early on this year. It's from Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. And the song I'm bringing on is Honolulu City Lights. It's by Chihiro Aoki.
Nice. All right, let's go check out Prince of the Wind and Honolulu City Lights.
So it was like these two songs, like that in particular, Honolulu City Lights, that really kind of were the impetus for this episode because this Honolulu City Lights kind of dominated like the first 3 months of our year. Like we listened to it like every day, and
Really
like
every day.
yeah, and it's because I love city pop so much. Like it's crazy. I'm one of those people who just listens to Japanese
Mhm.
music like that because like it's kind of everywhere these days, especially it's for the past few years it's been. And this is a really good take on it, and it's like from 2024 Honolulu City Lights. It's like they completely captured the the structure of the song, like the chord progressions that they use, and it's just it's a carefree sounding song. It just it just puts you in a good mood all the time. And same goes with the first song, the one from Dragon Slayer: The Legend of Heroes. It's a those soundtracks, the Falcom special box compilations, and just early Falcom in general. They're a real treasure trove for these kinds of songs. Like you get versions, like city pop versions of like Ease songs and Sorcerian and uh, uh, the others. Like there's just a bunch of other games from Falcom, and then their composers were on a different level during this time. They were just cranking out these bangers every single album. And yes, I really recommend if you're interested in looking for more city pop sounding songs or just like some really funky tunes, like check these out. They don't make them like this anymore. Their sound has evolved. You can kind of still hear like strains of it, but it's really quite different now. And so yeah, it was like we're gonna move in a different direction after this block, but I think I wanted to like represent city pop in our our maybe jazz series of episodes at some point. So this was a good opportunity.
Yeah. I actually got into the Yakuza or like the Dragon series quite a bit late compared to everyone, and the series is also known for karaoke music or karaoke songs rather. And this was one of those that really um, uh, like I realized that they have really good karaoke songs. So and not even the one that they were known for before this song, the one for Kiryu.
Oh, Bakamite.
Yeah, that one. And I really like their version for this for Honolulu City Lights, because like it also kind of apart from it being like a Japanese city pop feel, um uh I like how it also kind of captures the feeling of being in Hawaii, like just very chill but also having a great time and just dancing around or something. So that's generally the entire block for these two songs. And for the Prince of the Wind, this one I think this one is more of like our everyday song, because before like before we start working, we'd play some random music and this would always play, and it just makes us feel good.
Mm-hmm.
And like I always hear you singing along to him. So it's a good start, to the day, something like that. But I do really enjoy how upbeat these two songs are, and that's just really what I feel towards these two songs. So yeah. How about you guys? What do you guys think about these two songs?
I really like how these two songs are together because, looking a little bit more into city pop, it seems like it originated kind of in the late 70s and the 80s.
Mhm.
It was kind of considered part of like kind of Western influenced music boom that happened during that time and almost through to the 90s. And I guess like kind of the overarching thing about it is that kind of like urban feel, but also like I would argue that a lot of city pop songs do also have that kind of upbeat sort of feel. But what's interesting about having these two songs together is you have one track that's kind of the time, right? It's from the early 90s. It's got a good, if you wanted to show an example of city pop, Prince of the Wind would be a good one. But then you pair it with Honolulu's City Lights, which is way more current. But you can like it fits well enough that you could almost see it in an early Yakuza game, which is another kind of cool thing.
Oh,
like
yeah.
somewhere in Zero.
Yeah, like somewhere in
Yeah.
Zero, because
Yeah.
Zero happened when city pop would have been
Right,
popular. So it's
right.
kind of cool how
Yeah.
it's sort of like a callback and it kind of fits.
Yeah.
I
What-
can see it.
What year does 8 take place in?
Oh, 2023.
Yeah.
Okay.
Modern
Yeah,
like-
it's current.
yeah.
It's
Okay.
current.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But
See,
it's fun to kind of have that kind of like authentic city pop feel in
Yeah.
eight. And you get
Mhm.
some of the, kind of like more, I want to say more modern, but like more current kind of instrumentation, things like that. But it's still absolutely recognizable and kind of fits with city pop.
right.
The production kind of gives away that it's modern, but it
Yeah.
sounds
Yeah.
Yeah.
hmm
it sounds
Exactly.
of the time. You could convince
I-
someone. And like something about to be said about city pop, it kind of like it's the soundtrack to like extremely opulent wealth, like infinite wealth kind of. I think that's kind of it's like because the city pop was popular when Japan was like going through that
Yep.
asset bubble thing. So
Yeah.
they were extremely rich during that time, but it was like unsustainable, and it eventually collapsed. But
It's still around.
it's experienced a revival now because people are nostalgic for that
That
time.
Mhm.
Yeah, but
It's funny. It's funny given how the focus of Yakuza 0 that one wasn't called Infinite Wealth.
oh right. Right. It's considering money comes out of people when
Yeah.
you punch them.
Yeah, well, I mean, because money is everything. Money is your experience. Money is money.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
the
yeah.
resource. I thought it was a pretty clever way of showcasing that.
Oh, maybe
Yeah, I mean,
that's why
historically, they
named
know
it
what they're doing.
Infinite Wealth.
Yeah. What was that, Tim?
Maybe that's the reason why they named it Infinite Wealth now.
Maybe.
Like they had that idea. I don't know.
Yeah, because there's actually a mystery why they named it Infinite Wealth, right? Because like they never mention it. In
Oh,
yeah,
really?
in the game.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Oh yeah.
So
Um,
it's up for debate. We don't really
Yeah.
know.
I'm still so far from that game. I'm still playing 2. I mean, the fact that I've gone through 0 and 1 and part of 2 is not
It's
nothing.
already a huge achievement. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know, but I'll get there one day.
Well,
I know people keep saying it's like, no, you could just play 0 and then 1 and jump to 7. But I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Like if I
Find
like,
the
I
GOA.
already, yeah, I mean, I like them, and I'm like, if I'm gonna play them anyway, I might as well play them in order. Even though I'm very excited to
True.
get to 7 and 8.
Oh, one thing to mention, since we kind of talked about like karaoke earlier, is that this is one of our main vocal blocks.
The
Oh, that's true.
karaoke block.
Mhm.
Mhm. I guess I could call it the karaoke block.
One of my hair's good.
Yeah. I realize like we talked about already, that the Falcom song was actually released in late 1990. So to be like, wow, this sounds like the 90s would be really redundant. But I do want to say something that I hadn't actually put in my notes, but I'm glad you talked about this a little bit, Gio, how they were kind of ahead of their time when they did this box and all the other ones, because they were doing them annually for a while, right? Mm-hmm. I think it's kind of cool because we talked about a similar thing for Square. I don't know which episode. It was a while back because someone brought on something from like one of the early Final Fantasy Orchestra albums. I think it was like the Scene 2, Scene 7, whatever. Like one of this Final Fantasy symphonic albums. Mm-hmm. And at the time I was like, wow, this was released in like 1990. Because like it just feels like live albums or live performances or orchestra performances, stuff like that, or arrangements are not modern as in like, you know, the last few years, but it's really interesting to think that they were doing that stuff like in the early 90s or even in 1990.
Yep.
So I don't know. I thought that was interesting. Like I thought it was fascinating back then because the market was not what it is now for games or game music. And they were still being like, hey, this should be done with real instruments, or hey, let's arrange this in an interesting way. Because like now it's easy to see like fans or, you know, official albums be like, we're gonna go back, and like Square has their jazz albums or just reinterpret stuff. But it's interesting that they were reinterpreting that like basically as it was happening. So I think it's cool. I wanna check out some of the other boxes too, if they're all just a mix of interesting arrangements and takes. So
predecessor to Pulse.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Well, you really love Pulse, huh?
I do.
I hope they do another one. Pulse is a like EDM Final Fantasy 14 album for anyone who doesn't.
Oh, that one.
Yeah,
I actually like that too. Yeah,
it's so fun.
The one with the chocobo cover.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Do they call it Pulse because of FF13?
No.
I would guess not, because it's for 14.
Yeah, it's for 14.
Oh, sorry, I misheard.
Oh, okay. No, that would have been
like
good. That would have been clever. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, yeah. So, history aside, I enjoy both of these. It's a very cool, like nostalgic, breezy sound. Also, the Prince of the Wind also made me think of like a Studio Ghibli kind of song, which again I realize there's an overlap in terms of time and like the kind of music you would get in anime and games and stuff back then. But like if you had told me it was from one of their earlier movies that I hadn't seen yet, I would have believed you.
The vocal track from a lost early 90s Ghibli film.
Yeah. I mean, that's a huge compliment. Like, I'm not just being like, oh, it sounds like this, but like in a good way. I thought it was fantastic. And of course, the Like a Dragon one was great too. Even though I don't have the context behind it because I'm so many games away. And every time I hear music from any of the games I'm not on yet, I'm like, boy, I got to get there. I think the jazz episode last year, who brought the one from Yakuza 5?
Oh wow, someone also brought from
I think there was a Yakuza 5 on that one.
It might have been
Solosi.
Okay.
Yeah, it was not either of us.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, anyway, great picks, really fun start to the episode. Mm-hmm. So I think it's time we got to our Neon City block. Starting with me, actually. I have not had a chance to bring on a Valhalla song in a while, and I'm always happy to do it. So we are going to start with Karmotrine Dream from Valhalla. And after that, we have another song from Gio.
Yeah, I'm bringing Harajuku from Shin Megami Tensei 9. It's not really the 9th Shin Megami Tensei game, I think. That's just the way it's called.
When I first saw it, I was like, there's 9?
I don't know what they're going to do when they actually get the main series past 8.
I know.
They're just going to have to remake 9.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Let's go listen to Karmotrine, Dream, and Harajuku. Oh boy, do I love the Valhalla soundtrack. I have listened to the multiple albums that make up the soundtrack. Technically, this is from the Prologue OST, because there's a few different albums that were released before, during, and after the game's release. And I have them all. I've listened to all of them. Garoad, which I guess is how you pronounce the name. I've bought at least one or two of their other albums, like in this style, just like they're not even from a game. It's just this kind of music, and I just eat it up. It's so good. I will just put all of that stuff on for just hours, whether I'm working or reading or cleaning or chilling out, I guess. But I think sometimes I need someone to remind me how to do that. So usually,
you preempted me. I was about to throw in a "you chill out."
No, I don't. I know. It's a problem. But things have to get done. Um, but yeah, this is just, I think this is a great representation of kind of the slightly brighter side of the soundtrack. There's definitely some moodier pieces and some like darker, kind of grittier ones, but this one just has like really cool beats. It's chill, but also a little energetic. I know I need to play more than like the beginning or the prologue section of this game because it's been a while now. Maybe I'll play it before the sequel comes out. But just the whole like vibe and atmosphere of this music is exactly what I got when I played the game too. So it's just a place I enjoy being, whether I'm playing the game or just like inhabiting it musically. It's so much fun. And I enjoyed how much I felt it paired up with the Shin Megami Tensei song. And it's interesting you brought this on too, because I was listening to this soundtrack like just last week because I was doing work and I'm like, okay, let me bring up Apple Music and just see what's there. Because I always try to like listen to as much game music on Apple Music as I can to like kind of like tell it's like, yes, like don't show me country music or whatever. Like I want to see other recommendations because sometimes it's hard to like find stuff or like I don't know what's on there. Or you get stuff like the Yakuza games that are on there, but they're listed in Japanese, so I can't just like search for them in English. So I always like, anytime there's some interesting video game stuff, I bring it up just to see what gets recommended to me. And I was shocked that this is on Apple Music in the US, given that it's a weird like spin-off game to the series that only released on Xbox. And as far as I know, has never been like re-released or updated or available again in like 20 years. And also, again, really concerned what they're going to do when they get past Shin Megami Tensei 8. But the only thing that I don't like about the song is it's not long enough. It's just such a great sound. It's too short and it makes me want more. I love the way it's bookended. Like there's that kind of guitar sound at the beginning, and then it goes away for most of the song. But then when it comes back at the end, it's really fun. Just a cool way to like start out. And yeah, I just want more. So I'm gonna go back and listen to more of the soundtrack. But I'm glad you brought this one. I wouldn't say that I'm like super invested in the Shin Megami Tensei community, so I don't know if this is true, but I feel like this is maybe not one of the games that's talked about often anymore. So it's good to have that represented.
Yeah, and it's good to have a representative of the kind of Shin Megami Tensei / Persona like city music, because I know definitely in some of the Shin Megami Tensei games, and especially Persona 2 is the one that instantly comes to my mind. Like they do have that time navigating the city map, and like there's an urban feel to a lot of those games. Mm-hmm. So it's not surprising that you get a lot of good music that's kind of using this musical footprint.
Yeah.
I don't know. I kind of looked at this block as like morning and evening in the city. I don't know. I kind of got that sort of feel from it, like because Karmotrine, there are some strong double notes. Like I think you described it as like bright or motivating or something like that. Yeah, driving is what I said. Like you kind of get sort of like a new day kind of energy, where you're in the city and you don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And then Harajuku, like with that guitar that you mentioned, that was such a nice frame. Like I could totally see that as kind of like a wind down, or like you found what you wanted, or like you've done what you need to do. Now it's time to wind down, maybe find a slightly quieter spot in the city, something like that. Oh, I don't know.
It's like you're on your commute home.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah.
And then, not to jump in again, and Gio, you're probably going to mention this, but I forgot to, when I was looking it up, this is, I think, an arrangement from Shin Megami Tensei 2. Like
Yeah.
I think some of the soundtrack for this game is arrangements from the first game, but this is from 2.
Yeah. There's not a lot of original songs in Shin Megami Tensei 9. I think it's mostly like rearrangements of like songs from Shin Megami Tensei 1 and 2. But the original version of the song isn't as funky. It's not as urban sounding. It doesn't have the guitar that we love so much. Like the guitar was what drew me into the song.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Good to know.
Yeah. Honestly, Hillary really put it well, because like I was gonna say, like this is it's like if Karmotrine Dream is like the morning commute, the Harajuku is the evening commute when you've had a productive day and you're just trying to find your way home. It's normally cyberpunk songs are kind of they're not always like this upbeat. They can have like a bit of a down feel, but we both happen to bring two upbeat.
These two are actually relaxing.
Yeah songs, and I especially like the really lively bass in Harajuku as well, because
Yeah.
yeah, it's just and it's like it keeps you awake, and it's like it's kind of like people walking past you. That's how I feel. Yeah,
Kind of that flow, that like undercurrent.
Yeah,
and that bass is super important in funk, so that's a common thread.
Nice.
Yeah, Karmotrine is more like a little bit slower compared to Harajuku, so I see what you guys were picturing, like the morning and the night thing comparison, and it actually perfectly fits. Right, that's also how I could describe from what I'm getting from both of these two songs. So, but yeah, I think both of them are super relaxing, just different vibe, I guess. So
yeah, and also like about SMT9 being on Apple Music, like I only noticed recently that they were also on Spotify, even for us. Like if they're on Spotify.
I think they just recently released most SMT albums in Spotify, if I recall, like before, just this year. Like I saw them post about it before SMT5 came out. So
I see.
Okay. Yeah, know, I feel like I read that too, but I guess I maybe thought they had done Persona, not specifically SMT. But whatever. I mean, I'm excited about it.
Good to have access to it.
Yeah.
It's
although even if I had read it and remembered it, I probably still wouldn't have expected 9 to be included in that.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Also, you guys said this came out on Xbox, so it did come out in the West.
No. It came out on Xbox in Japan.
That's it?
Only. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, think about that. I think
really?
I mean, I'd have to go back and look because I don't remember exactly, but I feel like it was one of those, every so often Microsoft would kind of do that. It's like, yeah, we're committed to Japan, and like, give a bunch of money and like try to get some like big name Japanese developers to do something on Xbox. Like, see, and then it didn't last. And they tried. And I think they're in a better place now, but yeah, I feel like that was just their thing every so often. It's like, no, look, seriously, Japan, please buy our console.
They tried.
Yeah, I mean, like something like this, like that seemed like, they at least were smart enough to know, who to go to. They went to Atlas, and they went to Square and Tri-Ace. And, yeah. Sometimes it worked out.
I'm really surprised that it came out there, but it never had English translation eventually.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
They only started doing Shin Megami Tensei with Nocturne, I think. That's when they... except for Persona...
Oh, this is different.
Persona, yeah. but like yeah, they weren't really keen on bringing the mainline
SMT.
games.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I forgot, I don't know offhand what year 3 came out, but yeah, that was a big deal when 3 came out here because it was the first one. And then before that, we had, Persona was weird because the Persona 2, we got one of the 2 Persona 2 games here. That's always been so weird. Like on the PlayStation, we got Eternal Punishment is second. Yeah. So we got the second Persona 2 on PS1. And then later on, Atlas was like, you know what? It's time to bring out Innocent Sin. So they brought out the PSP version of Innocent Sin. But they didn't also do the PSP Eternal Punishment. I feel like they really missed out there. They could have packaged them together.
That was a baffling decision.
Yeah. I mean, so like,
Yeah.
it's like ultimately both came out in the West. But because the PSP Innocent Sin was so many years after, like the PS1 Eternal Punishment wasn't like readily available anymore. So they were never available like at the same time.
Yeah.
You couldn't just be like, oh, I'm going to go get both. It's like, well, if you like this, I hope you got the other one like 10 years ago. Yeah. I don't know. I'm glad
they might do that at this time. Like they might have learned, hopefully, if they're gonna re-release 1 and 2.
That would be really interesting. I mean, they could, they would happily repackage or remake both Persona 2s,
I would like
and
them
then
together.
6 months later release a better version.
Oh God, please no.
Well, they do that with everything now. It's
Yeah, I kind of want.
I'm
that.
actually, yeah, huh?
Sorry, I kind of want that practice to end.
Yeah, it's weird because you would think that if people were really upset about it, they wouldn't buy the original version of whether it's Shin Megami Tensei 5 or Persona 5.
But everyone still buys it.
I know. Like I am sure that Persona 3 Reload will come out with that female protagonist version
with the DLC and
Right, the portable updates.
But obviously people are buying them both times, so unfortunately we are supporting it. I like the idea that they want to release an upgraded one, but like for me, and I know a lot of people, it's like now it becomes so common, like, well, it's just safer to wait. It's like it's kind of a gamble buying the original one. Anyway, let's get to our casino block with Tin and Hillary. So, Tin, what is your second song today?
I'm bringing Serendipity by Naoshi Mizuta. This one is from Final Fantasy 13-2.
Oh boy, I have feelings about this one. Okay.
I mean,
And Hillary.
So I chose something a little bit different with Casino Calavera it's a Peter McConnell track, and it's from Grim Fandango.
We're doing the remastered version, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go listen to Serendipity, and now very self-consciously, Casino Calavera.
Beautiful. Thank you.
It's been a while since I last played Final Fantasy 13 2, and I kind of don't remember this particular track, Serendipity. And while I do remember that, I think I was hearing this track while doing side quests, probably, or like in a town, or I don't remember. But I love the entire soundtrack of the 13 series, and I think that's probably the best thing for me. Like, and for the Serendipity, I actually didn't realize at first that this sounds like it's part of a part of this casino block. Not until you named it that way, and I was like, oh yeah, it does sound like it's something I could definitely hear inside the casino. And
you did.
There's a part in this track, G and I can't actually pinpoint what instrument is it one being used. You were saying that it was like
it's like a woodwind.
Yeah, woodwind thing.
It
like
sounds
this-
a bit like clarinet to me.
Oh.
That's kind of what I pinpointed it as. And clarinet's not, it's slightly less used, but it's not an uncommon jazz instrument. So that's kind of...
Yeah, maybe that's more closer.
That was the closest that I was hearing, but I'm not 100% sure either.
Because
Yeah.
there's two of them playing at the same time, so it's a bit harder to...
Yeah, but just like in the middle part, that's where you hear the sax. So,
Yeah, I noted that as a high point. I
Yeah.
enjoyed that.
So
And there's also, what did I say? Oh, sax. I think I also heard like something that sounded like sax.
but yeah, what else could I say about this track? I probably compared to the one Hillary brought with Casino Calavera, and also comparing to the very first block we had. I think my Serendipity version is like more of a modern take than the one Hillary brought. I feel like the Casino Calavera is actually more in the past. So
Oh yeah, it's way
Yeah.
more like traditional jazz.
yeah, mine is more modern, I'd say. Since we couldn't even tell what instrument was that.
It feels very city pop, actually. It's sort of like a city pop like casino where you're there, you're having fun, and you're losing track of time. Like, one of the things I wrote down about it is like, I could totally see this as like that casino where people are sitting down and completely losing track of time.
Yeah, and probably having like modern kind of machines already with AI and AR. So modern type of gambling.
Right.
While listening to the one you brought, it also like what you mentioned earlier, it does give off that film noir. And I've also never played Grim Fandango, but I totally see how you describe the plot of this game, that it really matches to this song, and whoever composes, I think it's really, really good as well. I feel it also sounds like I'm watching like an old film or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and
Mm-hmm.
I went back and forth a little bit about including this one. There were several kind of factors at play. One, Grim Fandango has a very highly acclaimed soundtrack. Like, in the field of video game music, this is one of the soundtracks where people, jazz aficionados like say, well, this is just a good jazz album. It's kind of like breaks free of that kind of video game soundtrack mold
Right.
a little bit. So I think it's just kind of, if we're talking about like jazzy video game music, this album has to be there somewhere. But I also felt that because it is the Casino Calavera and it is in a city, it still kind of qualifies because it has that urban feel. A little bit more old-timey, very different type of casino from Serendipity, but still urban. And it just... So Grim Fandango is basically like a film noir kind of like hard-boiled sort of like, not quite detective story, but like there's a little bit of a detective element to it. And it stars Manny Calavera, who starts off as like a Grim Reaper, but basically they are kind of like your afterlife agents. So they give you like a travel package, because the underworld is set up kind of in the tradition with inspiration from like the traditional, I think, Aztec underworld. So you have to travel through the different worlds till you reach your final rest and things like that. So they sell you a travel package and they like try to help you get there. But Manny is not able to like give clients exactly what he should be able to, and so he starts investigating and, you know, learns about some shady dealings there are lots of antics. So he ends up in a city called Kurokawa. There's a little bit of a time gap, and he ends up with a casino, and that's where this song is.
Oh.
Yep. So he gets into that kind of life.
Let's see.
And you can't really hear like the Latin jazz influences so much in this song as some of the others, but like the soundtrack is really good, and there are some other tracks that have some really nice like Latin jazz influences.
You're telling me that a Peter McConnell soundtrack is really good and highly acclaimed.
Yes.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Okay. Also, anyone? Sorry. I'm worried that someone's going to hear that and be like, "Oh, wow, he's being sarcastic and rude." Like, no, that's just like that, like deadpan. I have nothing against Peter McConnell. He's a fantastic composer.
Mike also knows how much I personally like him as a composer.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that's clear. I hear people like doing. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. Go on.
I have to check this out. I don't know. I was gonna say like. This game's been on my radar ever since I finished Day of the Tentacle.
Yes.
Another of this ilk. I think maybe the same developer. I don't know.
Both Tim Schafer games.
Oh, Tim Schafer. There we go.
Oh.
And I loved it. I thought it was so funny. But I think Grim Fandango has like the edge of like being composed by a very good composer, Peter McConnell, who I'm gonna check out. I'm gonna listen to this soundtrack too because of Hillary's recommendation.
Huh.
I love
really
me
good.
some Latin jazz.
It's great.
And yeah, the one other thing I wanted to still mention about it, and yeah, I'm not sure if it was Lucasfilm at that point with Day of the Tentacle. I think that was a joint project that Tim Schafer was involved in for Day of the Tentacle.
Okay.
Grim Fandango was more of a solo project, I think.
Was it? Okay. That's one of those ones where I'm like,
Yeah.
is that LucasArts or no?
Yep. Okay, so it was still.
It was LucasArts
And Double Fine. So it was kind of like during...
Well, Double Fine did the remaster.
Oh,
yeah.
shoot, they did. Never mind. Okay.
Ah.
So yeah, it was still
I
LucasArts.
I see.
And Day of the Tentacle
So okay,
was also LucasArts.
they did
and
both.
Remastered by Double Fine. So there
Okay.
you go.
So
Oh,
there you go. Very similar.
Yeah.
I see.
Everyone was right in that.
Hooray.
Hey.
But yeah, I mean, if you like kind of the humor and the dialogue in Day of the Tentacle, you'll probably also like Grim Fandango.
Lovely. Amazing. I wonder if we've done it for Retro Encounter. It would be good
Yes.
one to do.
Oh, you already
They
know.
played the remaster. Oh, yes.
Were you on that one?
Oh, they.
No, it was shortly before my time.
Oh, dang.
And it was sad.
Aw.
Okay.
Yeah, because I'm like, I know I made graphics for that for something. Okay. All right, so Serendipity. I recall what it is. It is a casino.
Oh, it is.
But I had it. Yeah, well, that's why this blog. It's funny though. It's funny that you don't remember the specifics of it because I don't remember ever doing anything in it. And given that Final Fantasy 13-2 is the only game I've ever got a platinum trophy. That's how optional this place is that you can get a platinum trophy in that game and
Not
ignore
do
it.
anything.
Yeah, it's a weird floating casino. Look it up. There's like it's on, if you see it on like the Final Fantasy wiki or something. It looks like, for 14 fans, it looks like Az's Law in Heavensward. This weird thing that sort of looks like a less happy gold saucer just floating in space.
This moody gold saucer in the sky.
Yeah, well, the region in the game is literally called the Void Beyond. It's literally a casino in a void.
Oh, okay.
And Saz runs the casino for some reason. Because
What?
yeah, look, I love those games, and I love the music in all three games. They had no idea what to do with any of those characters by the sequels. They're just like, yeah, he's going to run a casino now. And then in the third one, whatever. No through line with those characters, except sort of Lightning. But yeah, completely optional casino is what it was. I'm not the biggest fan of casinos in RPGs usually, unless there's really compelling. And I guess this one wasn't, because I think I stepped in there once. But I like the music. It's not something I heard that much because I never visited the dang place.
Mm-hmm. That's probably why I don't also remember.
Yeah. Well,
I also visited this place maybe just also once.
Well, it's kind of a bummer because, like, I think the locations in 13-2 are one of its strong points. The different time period, like seeing places in different time periods, like where Noel's from. Is it Lake Brescia? One of them is like it's all frozen now, like it wasn't frozen in 13. Like just the way they transformed them and just exploring the areas, even though some of them were really small, it was just cool. Like it was just a lot of great variety. And then it's like, oh, and then a space casino. I don't know. Maybe if there was more things to do in there, I would have visited more. But yeah, it just every other area was more interesting. That's all.
Yeah, I'm with you with casinos and RPGs. It's also not really much of my thing. Not unless I get like a really good weapon in there or something. But most of the time, I usually avoid them. So. I just don't want to bother with slot machines and all that.
Right. Like sometimes I'll do it if there's like a thing I really want. Like I did it a little bit even in Stardew. You know how much I like Stardew Valley.
Yeah.
I don't ever go in there. I did it to get. I think you need to get one of the scarecrows that way. The alien scarecrow, and I'm like, okay, I want the scarecrow. Is the only place to get it. And that's all I want out of this place. Now I'm leaving.
All right, can I get sassy for just a minute?
Yeah.
You all would remember the casino better if it was a casino run by awesome skeletons.
Yes.
And as plot important as the Casino Calavera is in Fandango.
That's probably true. It's not a skeleton, though, because Saz isn't dead.
Which is good.
And never dies. You're looking at me like I'm weird. But you clearly don't remember the plot of Lightning Returns.
No.
In which case, no one dies ever. And everyone stops aging.
No. It took me a second, but I got it.
And yet, despite never aging and never dying, nobody matures after 500 years.
Yeah.
It's like every time I would do a quest for like a 13-year-old kid who still acted like a 13-year-old kid, even though he's 513 now, I'm like, you're really losing me with this. I'm sorry. Anyway.
Even Saz's kid never grew up.
Yeah. It's like, at least they should at least like feel differently.
I mean, the amount of just like just objectively with the amount of time that's passed, you feel.
Yeah.
But if no one is aging, like, does that mean there isn't really opportunity for them to mature? I guess
your brain doesn't grow.
I don't know.
Yeah. I was gonna say like your brain doesn't develop.
Maybe.
Yeah. But that doesn't explain the adults that haven't learned anything after 500 years. But maybe that's a commentary on society. I don't know what they were doing with that game. So Grim Fandango, I thought you were gonna mention this.
Oh, whoops.
No, it's okay. This song was from, I'm gonna call it an earlier draft of music that you and I picked. Because you and I went into this first going like just super in like the jazz area, less the city pop, and then we like kind of tweaked it. We're like, no, we want to go more city pop.
I wasn't going to reveal the secrets.
Well, I want to mention it, but I'm glad this one's still here because like my original 2 picks, I'm like I threw out the window. So,
well, I had to justify this one.
No, I mean it's great. I mean the fact that it also like. We had another casino song is actually really cool.
Yeah.
I'm glad you settled specifically on this one from Grim Fandango because I know you were looking at a couple. But it's just so much fun. And, you know, I think one of the reasons maybe that it's so widely regarded as a jazz album, not just a soundtrack that is jazz themed, is that it's not something you get often in games.
Oh, that's
true.
Mm-hmm.
You know, of course, we talked about a little bit earlier, like we get arrange albums. You know, we have all these square jazz albums, and Sean Chafiansky, for example, like he's a former Rhythm Encounter guest and just also a fan favorite around here. Like he does jazz albums for Final Fantasy IV and Octopath, and
one of them was on the jazz episode.
That other one, he did a Chrono Trigger one. So like we get a lot of fans, especially doing jazz stuff,
or occasionally someone like Makoto Sakuraba being like, "I'm gonna do a jazz song."
Oh yeah, well Sakuraba just does what he wants, and I respect that. But yeah, like you don't usually get a lot of it in game as jazz, let alone a whole soundtrack like that. No. So it's so cool. I was also gonna name drop Super Soul Brothers and 8-Bit Big Band, but I didn't until just now. So yeah,
they do very, very good jazz covers.
I know. So I love that it's something that's just, it's a great authentic jazz experience, like directly from a game. It's so cool.
And I think one of the things I wanted to highlight, just as putting all the pieces together, that I'm actually happy to have these 2 songs together to point it out, but like you get hints of kind of a back and forth between some of the different instruments in Serendipity, right? We talked about like the 2 possibly sax and clarinet playing together, and a little bit of piano thrown in there. But Casino Calavera is really where you can hear it. There's a lot of like back and forth kind of dialogue between the different instruments. They're throwing the melody around. There's a lot, there's a lot of interplay, and that along with improvisation are kind of typical like jazz conventions. So that could be another one of the reasons why this is like well regarded as a jazz album, because it has some of those elements.
Yeah, I've noticed as well, like we often hear jazz music in like RPG games only if they make like a jazz arrangement albums out of them, but you don't really hear them directly from like in the game. So so this is pretty cool that they actually play inside the game. So
it's also really cool.
I love surprises like this.
It's also really cool if you compare it to some of his other work and some of his other soundtracks. Like Broken Age sounds nothing like this.
True.
Oh
yeah,
we should listen to it and see the difference.
He has range for sure. I one thing to add about Casino Calavera, having played it, but like the instrument that goes like it's like it's like a percussion instrument that's like it's not a maraca, but it's like I really don't know what it's called, but it's like the one that it adds to the percussion by giving it like a scrapey feel. It really sells like the smoke-filled rooms,
right?
Oh,
vibe.
Yeah,
like it
cigar.
Like it's like I'm smoking a cigar while playing cards.
Yep. And it's so interesting because in the game, like Manny's Casino, it's like kind of a small cafe with like some gambling and like some things, and then you learning he's kind of like in competition with this like way more corporate kind of like sleazy business, but very successful other casino.
Mm-hmm.
And there's actually a side quest where your buddy Glottis has a little bit of a gambling problem, and you have to get him out of the like high rollers lounge at the competing casino, so that you can leave town.
See, all I could think about while you're describing that is I'm thinking of it as the Yakuza game where it's like, okay, so we're going to put the other one out of business, right?
Yeah.
That's not where you went with that. All right. Are we ready for our final block?
Yeah.
Yes.
Cool. All right. Hillary, we are starting with your song here.
We are. We actually don't have a name for this block, do we?
Wow, we sure don't. Let's come up with one right now.
I'm on the spot.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Contemporary block.
Sure.
All right, so my pick for this block is Diamonds, which is a Marskye track from Boyfriend Dungeon.
Awesome. And then I am excited because I get to bring on some more Haven. So my track is 0741, The Beginning of Something from Haven. So let's go check out Diamonds and The Beginning of Something.
My hand
right, so for this block, these are two like slightly more contemporary songs, and I think it's good that we're finishing with this because, you know, there's been a little bit of a resurgence with songs with this kind of like urban city pop sort of feel, and a lot of people consider city pop the source of kind of some more recent trends like vaporwave and future funk. And I think these two songs maybe exemplify that the most. They're kind of like where city pop is going, potentially. So Diamonds is just really, really fun. If I'm being honest, that's like the number one reason I brought it. I love the rhythm. I love how it has kind of like a carefree sort of beachy feel. It takes kind of those city pop elements, but gives it kind of a more relaxed, more vacation kind of feel. And I mean, that fits very well with Boyfriend Dungeon because the whole idea there is that you are at the beach for the summer. And I also like it because I feel like the lyrics also reflect kind of like a little bit of a hustle, right? The chorus is something like, pressure makes a diamond. I've been putting lots of time in. So it's kind of like, I don't know. I wanted to represent hustle culture a little bit because that's probably pretty urban.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I also just like the Boyfriend Dungeon soundtrack in general. I think it's good. And then Haven, I mean, I brought a different song from Haven on before. I am very, very fond of it. It reflects kind of a different type of mood. And I think that's really neat, just as we're kind of ending and thinking about different future directions for city pop. Like, this is an example of two very different songs with two very different moods. And I think the Haven soundtrack is beautiful because you've got that kind of like isolated, almost kind of chilly melody with this gorgeous backdrop supporting it. So it kind of, to me, like represents a little bit of that kind of like urban isolation sort of feel. Like there are so many people around, but you're still, in some respects, alone. And, you know, there's potential and there's like hope with it too, but there's also kind of like a slightly isolated feel with that song.
And this is kind of a silly thing to ask now that we're like here on the episode recording, but so you think it fits then with the theme? Because I was a little worried about it. I was a little worried it was like a little too like EDM sort of versus what we were going for. I was hoping it was close enough that people would like feel it and it worked. I'm not going to change it. I just want to know.
I mean, I think, like I said, I think you can definitely like trace it back to kind of some of those city pop elements. Okay. But I think it's a good example of kind of some of the soundscapes that have happened probably because a little bit of that city pop resurgence.
Yeah.
Okay. But, you know, that's my personal feel.
Yeah. Can I chime in?
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. I just like thinking, well, Hillary put it really, really well. That I wanted to like say like there's a through line between, you know, Honolulu City Lights and, you know, Princess of the Wind all the way to these to Diamonds and the song from Haven. It's kind of like so when city pop came back, people started doing their own thing with it, and it started to infect, or like it started to like seep into other genres. And this is like kind of two examples of that, of composers hearing city pop and then kind of building on it. And so for me, it fits really well with the episode. Haven, actually, I was kind of expecting Mike to bring Paradise Killer.
Right.
Yeah, actually. Same here.
I would have
been like very closer. That would have been like closer to.
I know, but I just did it on the last episode it was on. So
I was thinking of, should I bring Paradise Killer? And I was like thinking, No, probably Mike would bring it.
If not for the last episode, I probably would have. But
Mhm.
yeah. So go back and listen to that one for some Paradise Killer, because that is also a great soundtrack.
Yes.
But then this ended up being so good too for me. Like I
Yeah,
really,
Haven's soundtrack is so good.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah.
Well, because actually, I think we talked about it a little bit with Paradise Killer, right? I think at the time you said you hadn't listened to Haven really.
Yeah.
But I'm
Yeah.
guessing you have now.
Yeah,
Mhm.
with this song, and
The
Yeah.
last one with the apple something.
Apple Deuce
Apple
Stew.
Stew.
Yeah.
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 Oh, well,
That
okay.
one.
So this is number 3.
Yeah.
We've had Still Free. Yeah, that's
Still
the-
Free was a while ago. Yeah,
Mhm.
That's a bop.
it is.
Mhm.
I really love how you described our bunny loudly drinking water behind me.
Yep.
No, I love how you described that, Gio. It's kind of funny because like the way you described like city pop is like making its way into other genres and stuff is like it's really easy to draw the parallel to the RPGs as a whole, because the RPG genre keeps finding its way into other things, making our jobs at RPG Fan much more difficult.
yes,
But also it's also cool. I really do like seeing games take on RPG elements, even though it makes it harder for us to be like, do we cover this or do we not? Like on a personal level, I'm like, well, that's cool. Like I love adding this extra layer of depth to action games or whatever it is that, you know, they didn't usually have that. So seeing this stuff blend is really neat. So I think that's kind of a fun way of tying this in with RPGs even more.
Yeah, actually. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Like, connecting it to the games that we cover, I can actually imagine these two songs are like I can hear them probably in Life is Strange games.
Oh.
I don't,
Oh, okay.
like I can imagine that this is a Life is Strange block.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they have that modern setting going on too.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Or kind of like that the one we saw recently in the recent showcases, like that mixtape thing.
Oh yeah,
that game mixtape. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
So, and also for the diamonds, uh, listening to like modern music nowadays, it also this track actually sounds like it's by that artist called Charlie XCX.
Yeah.
Really?
Kind of give me that vibe. I don't know. I'm not sure if I'm the only one who's seeing it that way, but yeah.
All right, I need to go listen to them because I don't know them.
Yeah, you should try.
That's actually really bizarre and funny you would mention that now, because I am not familiar with their music generally.
Yeah.
But I just did something today, a social media thing for a client.
Did you use
Oh.
one of?
I did use one of their songs
Ah.
because I said like, hey, what song do you want me to put with this footage? And she was like, oh, here, I'll give you this link. So I at least know a song now.
That does kind of sound like Boyfriend Dungeon,
Yeah,
actually.
but
Mhm.
it was, if you're
Yeah.
curious, it was 360.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
What a coincidence.
I know, it's so strange. Like literally, that was like 4 or 5 hours ago I did that, and that you would bring it up now.
And now I can kind of make the connection.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad everyone else saw whatever it was here, because that I saw, because I know these songs, they do and don't sound similar to each other, but like there was something about them, like I just felt like they really belonged to with each other. And I also wish I could take credit for like the through line of like early 90s to modern day stuff. It really just, this flow of the episode just felt natural, and maybe that's why
Yeah.
it felt like a natural flow, because of that. But I honestly did not plan that to that extent. But I'm glad that I subconsciously figured it out.
No, that's how it made sense to me.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, either way, I like these two together because they're both some of our like highest energy and sort of electronic-y songs today. Boyfriend Dungeon soundtrack is just so fun, and it really goes beyond what I expected when that game was in development. Like the first few times I saw it, it's like, okay, cool. It has nice character portraits, the isometric style dungeons. It's really one of those songs that I wouldn't generally call it or think of it as a video game song. It's actually sort of like Grim Fandango as like a jazz song, and like this is one of those ones you could be like, hey, listen to this pop song, and like, again, if you didn't know like it was from a game, I don't think most people would even guess. And as for Haven, well, I've talked about Haven a little bit before on the show, and I never get tired of the soundtrack. I have probably listened to it as much as Valhalla. Speaking of throwing back to earlier discussions in this episode, it's just so good. This song, it just has this really rich soundscape that like it just keeps changing as it goes on, and it just really, I don't know. For me, it just really lifts you up, which a bunch of the songs I think on the soundtrack do that, but maybe this might be the best example of that. It just takes you to, I don't know, it takes me to a really happy place. So
yeah. Also, it's a bit random, but I know a city pop song that has kind of a similar intro to the beginning of something.
Oh, perfect.
Like
Really?
It has a similar instrumentation. I should link it after the show.
you should. It could even be the bonus track, unless you guys
it's
still
not
want.
a game song.
Oh, well then it can't be the bonus track.
Oh, but can it? I'm not wondering. Can it?
No.
Can.
It can.
No.
Or can.
Can't.
No,
Oh, okay.
sorry. I know we did a random. I think the weirdest bonus track we did was the Janet Jackson song, but there was a reason for
Really?
that.
What
Totally.
episode was that?
Yeah, actually, I remember what it was, but I forgot what the topic was or what episode it was.
It's super early on.
For Still Free?
No, the
Oh.
Janet Jackson bonus track.
Oh, that was Yoko Shimomura, because that Janet Jackson song sampled the Moonlit City music from Legend of Mana.
Yes. Okay.
Oh, wow.
I was like, this is a
Okay, that
stretch, but
works.
that's too. I still want to do an episode about that. We have a card for that.
One of my favorite hobbies is finding RPG music samples and random other music.
Yeah. I don't know how much there is that we could easily find that we could build an
Mhm.
episode around, but it's a fun idea.
It'd be tough.
Yeah.
hmm
But anyway, yes. So we went there, but again, it sampled an RPG, so we allowed that one.
It was a bonus track.
Yeah. Anyway, well, this was even more fun than I expected it to be. So thank you all for making this a great episode. I hope
Thank you so much. This was so fun.
I know.
I learned a lot.
hmm
I mean,
I also really like how the flow from beginning to end is just really smooth.
Yeah, it worked out really well. And thank you all for bringing some really fun music to listen to.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm so glad I planned that whole flow out, from the early 90s to modern day. It was just really good planning on my part. All right, let's get to some wrap up stuff. First, we're going to talk about games that made their Rhythm Encounter debut in this episode, and it was several of them, in fact. This was the first time we've had Dragon Slayer, this Dragon Slayer song or game on. The first time for Shin Megami Tensei 9. Grim Fandango, we had a song on before, but this is the first time we've had one from Remastered. And then same with Boyfriend Dungeon. I think it was Audra brought on a song from the Boyfriend Dungeon DLC, but this is our first time from the base game. And also the first time we've had a song from Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth.
Yay.
So lots of debuts here.
Wow.
Yeah. A lot of fun. So thank you everyone for really digging into finding some cool songs that fit the topic. Coming up next on Rhythm Encounter, in 2 weeks we are doing indie RPGs. I think that's going to be a fun topic. A lot of times our topics are about a certain sound like this one, or maybe a certain setting in a game or something like that. So indie RPGs, I think, is going to really be it's going to have a lot of variety to it. So I'm looking forward to seeing what everyone brings to that one. After indie RPGs, we're going to do an episode on the Nintendo DS. So also going to be varied,
Yes.
because basically any RPG or game that we cover on the DS is fair game. So be sure to check those out. And even though I usually only talk about 2 in advance, I might as well mention that after the DS one will also be an episode similar for the PSP, which is also exciting because the PSP had a lot of great RPGs. So if you have thoughts on this episode or any of those upcoming ones, or any other thoughts or feedback you would like to share, you can reach us and me at music@rpgfan.com. And if people want to reach you, Hillary, what is the best way?
My RPG fan email, and that's hillarya@rpgfan.com.
Awesome. And Gio?
Yeah, you can find me through my RPG fan email too. It's gio@rpgfan.com. And you can also find me on Discord. I am TenBstar, TENBI star on Discord.
Awesome. And how about you, Tin?
Oh, you can also email me at tin@rpgfan.com, and I'm literally just Tin on Discord server.
So easy.
Yeah.
If you enjoyed Rhythm Encounter, be sure to also check out RPG Fan's other 2 podcasts, Random Encounter and Retro Encounter. Random Encounter is doing something. Actually, right when we're recording this, it's early enough that I don't know what is going up on Random Encounter next week or last week, but you should check it out anyway. Whatever it is, it's about something on RPG Fan, recent news, game events. There's been a lot of game events in June, or recent features, so be sure to check that out. Over on Retro Encounter just finished up their game journal on Grandia 2 last week, and coming up later this week will be a PS4 games, or top PS4 games episode. I'm sure that one is going to be a lot of fun. Maybe some debate in there, we'll see. And then their next game journal for July is going to be Dark Souls. I know Solosi has been journaling his progress on Dark Souls, and it sounds like he's having a lot of fun with it. So I'm sure that's going to be a great series of episodes. You can find RPG Fan on most social media. We are on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and we have a Discord. In most cases, our username is RPGFan.com on all of those services. Links to all of those are in the show notes, along with links to all of these albums that were featured today and some other stuff as well. So check out those links. Of course, you'll find a link to our website, which is rpgfan.com. And finally, we also have a shop. If you haven't heard or seen the RPG Fan shop, you can get to it at rpgfan.com/shop. And we have RPG Fan merchandise, so t-shirts and mugs and stuff like that, as well as our RPG Fan review card collection book. It's a printed book of just under 300 of our Instagram review cards. It's a really cool collection of many of our writers' reviews. It was a lot of fun putting that together, even though it took me almost all of 2023, but well worth the cost. I mean, obviously I'm biased and I say that, but everyone I know that has one has enjoyed it. So I encourage you to check it out at rpgfan.com/shop. Finally, if you enjoyed this show, please review us on Apple Podcasts, subscribe. We would love that. Reviews and subscriptions really just help more people find the show. And closing out today is a bonus track. Even though I didn't technically intend it to be the bonus track, you all seem to encourage it. So are we good with the thing that we talked about?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. All right. Well, we talked about Sean Chafiansky earlier and his jazz albums. So the bonus track I'm going to go with today is Hanit the Hunter from Jazz Arranged Version Octopath Traveler by Sean Chafiansky. So the whole album is fantastic. I really just love Hanit's theme, so that's where I went with in this one. So that's what we're going to close out with. Everyone, thank you for being here. Everyone, thank you for listening. And we'll see you in a couple weeks for Indie RPGs. Gio's been dreaming of talking to Hillary's dad, specifically.
I mean,